Hi friends, welcome to another episode of DilSe. We'll be having a heartfelt conversation with Santosh Patil. Hi Santosh, welcome to DilSe. Um,
Yeah, hi Ravi.
so Santosh does a lot of social work. Santosh is the son of Vasantrao Ji Patil, who passed away due to complications in cancer. And you had a very tough journey, first accepting, acknowledging, and then now you are also a part of a support group that helps the family understand, deal with cancer. That's quite
Mhm.
that's quite a not only interesting, but it's a very courageous kind of thing to do, because obviously you're going back to those episodes and times when which has not been a happy phase of life really. So
Mhm.
Santosh, tell us a little bit about to start with, when was your father diagnosed with cancer?
Okay, hi Ravi. So my father was diagnosed with cancer in October 2011. So initially it started off with a back pain. I mean, to be precise, his hip, just where the we have the tailbone which is located. So he had a very it was a pain which was sort of pricking him there, always. So initially we thought it might be some muscular pain or something, because he
Hmm.
used to be, he was very, he was very fit. Till then, he was someone who used to go for swimming daily. So
Okay.
I can imagine for the last 30 years, he's been a regular swimmer every day. And he has never ever had a bath with hot water. So he was a fitness freak and he was very fit pre this thing. So initially we thought probably he had a fall while going for a walk. So probably we felt that might be the reason there might be some pain. So initially we just went into getting some uh, treatments from the orthopedic guys, showing him, and then figuring out some muscular, it's sort of a muscular pain. So we had a session of physiotherapy and all that. Yet this pain wasn't reducing, and with it was drastically becoming worse.
Okay.
So by November, it was such a bad situation that he could not stand on his own feet. So that was when the panic started creeping in. And then we went to do a MRI. We went to a doctor who suggested an MRI. So it was Dr. Arvind Bhave, who was supposed to be a spine surgeon. So it was his place that we went, and then he suggested that I find this very peculiar. Let's do an MRI first. And it was the first time that after the MRI that we came to know that this is something serious, because it appeared that there was a deviation, rather the continuation of the vertebral column was broken at the point of L5 and L6. That is the L5 vertebra and the L6 vertebra. And that was completely abnormal for Dr. Arvind Bhave. So he said, this doesn't happen normally.
Hmm.
So I think this is something very dangerous or something. I guess you should be admitted immediately. And at that point, we said that he's told us, if you don't get admitted tomorrow itself, this can be so crucial that your lower body will be paralyzed, completely paralyzed. So that is where we were in a big shock. We had to immediately move him to Dinanath. And in the meantime, he was getting worse. I mean, he could hardly move now. Forget standing, then he couldn't even move. And once we went into Dinanath, he said that we need to do a sort of uh, bridging of the vertebral column. He said we'll have to put some titanium plates and we will have to strengthen that, because there appears a depression there. And it was during that operation that they realized that there is a big tumor inside. And that operation lasted for almost 7 to 8 hours. And the moment they realized that the tumor was there, they had called upon Dr. Samir Melankiri. I still remember that day we were all on the second floor of Dinanath. The operation was going on. My father's friend, who is also a surgeon, he was there, and he came out and told me, Santosh, we need to take an opinion of Dr. Samir Melankari in this. Now, I knew that Samir Melankari was a hematologist. So that was something that first came into me. Before that, there was absolutely no, reference or not a single thought about it being cancer of anything.
Correct.
First, it was just about it was a spinal, it was a muscular pain or maybe orthopedic something or of that sort of. That was when Samir Melankari came into picture, I realized that it is something different. So on that same operation table, these guys, the doctors also decided that let's go for the biopsy of it. If they found the tumor, he said we'll scrape it out and we will send it, started recovering. His pain immediately subsidized, because what had happened is due to the pressure of the vertebral column almost cracking down, his nerves were being literally cramped up. So that was the reason there was acute pain that he used to have, and there was almost sensation of his legs it was reducing because the nerves were being completely clamped up. And immediately after the operation, his nerves,
during this, this period where one really goes from trying to understand that, look, it's not something that we thought of, it's not something like a physical pain or a muscle pull, and to go on to understand that, it's the L5, L6 or L4, L5, and then sort of being shown a mirror that, look, you know what, it's probably something to do with cancer. There is a tumor and it's probably cancerous. And this happened really fast, this was, I think, within a space of less than a month, and then you moved from. So how was the family coping? How were you, what was your mental state?
So I'll tell you, it is very, that period was so disturbing because I had my cousin's wedding during that same period. So, all other family members were busy in that wedding. And I was only the one who used to, keep moving from my wedding place to attending my father. So fortunately enough, my mother, my sister, the close members, they were probably engrossed in the family marriage. So, for them, it was initially wasn't, that it is going to be so serious as such. I was the one who was taking my father to the hospitals and I was getting everything. But unless and until I knew anything, I did not tell anyone about the seriousness of this. So we were into that marriage but the other side of all is also that since it was a marriage, all the relatives were here, So everybody was concerned. There is something wrong about my father. He's been admitted. There is something very serious that is there that has to be happened, because it was immediate admission and immediate an operation. So yes, but fortunately enough, till the time of the operation, nobody knew that it had something to do with cancer. It was only, after he started recovering and we got the biopsy report after 15 days. So that was when the news was broken, and it was also broken in such a way that Dr. Melankari called me that I need to talk to you. And he said, if possible, get someone elder to you. So that was the first panic that happened, that yes, this is something serious. And so I had my cousin with me. My father was admitted only in Dinanath, that he was recovering from his
the operation.
Yeah. And Samir Melankari, we went to him and he told me, Santosh, this is NHL. So I said, what is NHL? So he said, it is non-Hodgkinson lymphoma. That name itself was so dreadful, because the first thing that I will tell you, Ravi, that came to my mind was Anand movie's leukemia. That has, you remember that? That was something that was always, that leukemia is like, a dreadful disease, and this non-Hodgkinson lymphoma. I said, what is it? He said, it's cancer. The moment he said cancer, I was like, oh shit. I was speechless. Fortunately, my brother was there and he said, so now next what? So my immediate question, you won't believe, is how bad is it? So, because when a person thinks about cancer, invariably it comes in his mind that it is bad. And moreover, knowing the pain what he had caused, he said that is the reason, because according to him, according to the doctor, the Samir Melankar, he said that tumor was eating the vertebrae. So I was like, oh shit, if this is what in 1 month, if this can be so bad, so it is definitely a thing to worry. So I outrightly asked him how bad it is. So he said, it's bad. But fortunately, Santosh, he said that this is the best type of cancer anybody can have. I said, what do you mean by that? So he said the curability chances of blood cancer and rather NHL are maximum. So that was the first sign of hope wherein, I said, okay, this is fair enough. And there's something that I talk to and tell my mom and my family, other members, my sister and everybody that, okay, this is it. So I said, but he said, is it okay that he said, see, there are patients who don't break the news to the doctor, to the patient. And probably he said, there are even patients who don't want this news to be broken to the other relatives also, like the immediate relatives. So he said, what is your call on it? I said, no, it is something that I said, because what I know of my father, if you tell him straight away on his face, whatever, he will fight it out. I'm sure of that. So I said, but the thing is, you have to come and tell it to him, and you have to tell him, because I won't be able to tell him in terms of medical, whatever it is. You tell him,
in its
will be in a better
entirety.
position to.
Correct, in its entirety.
Absolutely. So I said, okay, I said, I'll make sure that those who are concerned are there in the room that day. So I called my mother. I told her, she was a bit pensive. I mean, she was continuously pensive through the whole operation and everything. But that day she said, I called her. I told my sister. I called my sister also. My cousins were there. Everybody was there. So I said, the doctor has called us and he wants to talk to all of us at the same time. That was where my mother was, a little skeptical. She said, why does he want me to be there? I mean, you are going and meeting him and everything is fine. I mean, his operation is okay. You said the operation has been fantastic. He's able to move his legs. He's able to stand up now, and he's recovering pretty well. So what is the problem now? And I said, no, there is something that he wants to tell us. So, and the moment he came there and he told us about it, my mom was literally, it's they say na, पैरों के नीचे से जमीन निकल जाती है, that sort of feeling, she was in a big shock, because till then she was like, okay, it's recovering, so nothing to worry about. And that was the immediate shock that she got. And then the doctor also told her, you don't need to worry about it. So there is a proper line of treatment. Then he gave us what needs to be done. He told us the time period of the treatment. He said it's an extensive treatment. Moreover, it's a long durational treatment and it is going to be expensive also. So now this question of expense also started coming up, because till then, till the, I'll say the hospital bill and the hospitalization and the operation, it had already cost a fortune. So this was something that I had to look over now, because if till then we have a joint business, so moreover, it's like father is the one who is, who goes about whatever
medical
and everything.
Medical issues. One, and the moment you hear the word cancer, or just generally now, people going to a hospital, वो मन में शुरू हो जाता है यार. You need to financially, you really have to.
Exactly. And that is something that you cannot run away from. And to be honest, Ravi, at that point of time, I had absolutely nothing in my hand. There was no finances available immediately. You don't have liquid. I mean, there is so many things that you can do, but at that point, there was nothing there. But again, it's like, my father has always kept on telling me, and I've always believed that in principle till date, and I will keep believing it. He used to always tell me, Santosh, your property is the people you earn. It's not the money you earn. And I will tell you an example of this. You won't believe this, that there's a friend of mine. I mean, he wouldn't like to be named, so I won't name him. But what had happened is, after this whole thing cropped up and the doctor told us about the expenses and everything, so now immediate reaction was, how to go about the finances. So I went down to the hospital, the accounts department, and I asked them, I mean, what is like, so this is what it is, the treatment, and this is whatever I've been given a whatever. So what is the amount that I will need to put in as an advance or something? So because I should know about, पता तो होना चाहिए ना कितना पैसा दे.
कितना
He said,
देना है, हाँ.
okay, tell us. The accountant asked me, what's the name of the patient? I said, okay, this is dad's. I told my dad's name, and she said, are you sure about this patient? And he said, yeah. Why? What happened? Is this is there anything wrong? He said, no. Why? What happened? So he said, there is already 10 lakh rupees that has been paid in your account. Can you believe that? And then I realized this, that friend, he had done that without even telling me about it. So this is something that this was the first positive thing that happened, I mean, it's like that at that point you are so full of stress, and suddenly this thing happens, you start believing in the good that exists,
Yeah,
that
आदमी
was the
सोचने लगता
positive
है.
sign that I believe. Yeah, that was the positive sign that I believe my father is going to get out of this. I mean, if he had such beautiful contact, if he has such people around him who are there to support him, I mean, why should I worry about it?
वही तो कमाता ना यार. During your
And
life, this is what you earn, right? Goodwill and the goodness
absolutely,
of people. So that really came in
and
use.
this is when you act. So, and it's always a different thing listening to someone saying this and you actually experiencing somebody doing it for you. So for me, that was the biggest booster that it was needed at that point. And then, the whole treatment started off and everything started falling into place. There was the first session of, he was given us, it's the name of the therapy was CHOP chemotherapy. So first it had 6 sessions, after every 21 days we had to admit him. And so we started off, the results were fantastic. And fortunately, it's like, again, having friends around, how does it help? Because before every session, we had to get his blood count, the WBC, the hemoglobin, the RBCs, unless and until that is at a particular count, you cannot go in for chemotherapy.
Right.
So now
Right.
taking him to a lab after every 21 days, getting that tested, getting him back, it was going to be again a task. But again,
Correct.
contacts. There was a friend of mine who is what do you call it? He works for a lab, Nishkarsh lab. He's a pathologist. So he said, Santosh, you're not supposed to get him here. I said, then I'm going to come to your place. Don't worry about it. So he used to come every 21 days. Before that, he used to come down, used to take my father's blood samples. He used to get the report back. He used to send it to the doctor. So it was as if it's completely streamlined.
And this was way back in roughly 2011-12.
Yeah, 12. This is
So
what I'm talking, 12.
that time, this whole system of coming home for collections and sample, blood taking
It
was
wasn't,
just.
yeah. So,
It was still there at certain areas only. I don't think it was
yeah,
as rampant as it is
it
today in
was
Pune.
there, but for a
Yeah.
cost. It was there, but for a cost. It is still there, but for a cost. This friend of mine, he said, I'm not going to charge you anything. And I will be sending you report within half an hour. I'll be going there. I will be doing the testing myself, and within the next immediate evening, I'll be sending you what is the report. So this was like
So
a
it
blessing in
facilitates
disguise.
the speed of the whole process gets.
And it makes things so simple, Ravi, because what happens is in a chemotherapy, as you know, I mean, you must be knowing this. What happens is chemotherapy is something that kills all the cells in the human body. So it is bound that there is weakness. You're prone to diseases. You have to, isolate them, because it is very much possible that any contagious disease can be
Correct.
acquired by the
Correct.
patient,
Correct.
because his immunity is at the lowest at that point of time.
Yeah.
So again, I had that, that yes, people in life is what it counts, what is matters. So that was another belief. I used to I was getting a lesson every day that what my dad said is this. It is like, this is what it is. So this all started off, and then by the 6th chemotherapy, we had to get a PET scan done afterwards. After the 6th session. After the 3rd also, we did one PET scan. PET scan is supposed to is a scan which identifies the extent of the growth of the cancer, whether it is reduced, increased, or whatever. It the cells, cancerous cells that are there in your body. So by the third chemotherapy session, we had come to know that it has reduced 60% the cancerous cells in his body. So that was a wonderful feeling. Yeah, and Dr. Melankiri was like, he was also surprised that this is one of the best results I've seen in my patient. So he also was very, very happy about the development of the, the medicine, what is doing treatment.
And how are you? How was your father? How are you? How are you guys dealing with it mentally? I mean, what should one ideally? What frame of course, there's a lot of fear. People scare you. There's just one is just surrounded by an explosion of knowledge and information today also, but when one hears it from someone who's like a family member like yours, what was the frame of mind that you guys attempted to maintain? It's very easy to say yaar positive raho, but hota nahi itna easily.
So I'll tell you what it is, so kaisa hai pata hai Ravi, this reactions, or I mean the way my father reacted, or rather the interaction between me and my father during this whole scene was different in every treatment. What I mean to say is he had relapsed thrice.
Okay.
So the first time cancer came, so the first time we fought cancer, that was a different mental stage of which we were in. That mental state was like, we were pretty much, okay, yeah, we are going to get out of it. So it was the initial positive talks and all those things. We are seeing the results. He was walking on his feet now. So
improvement was happening.
6 sessions of chemotherapy and there was movement and there was physical development that was being seen.
Correct.
So that was the most beautiful part. Yeah. And you won't believe, after the first chemotherapy sessions, we had been advised that once the 6th session was over, Dr. Melankiri said, I feel there are no more cancerous cells in his body right as of now. But he had given a but there, that Santosh, this doesn't mean he's free of cancer. If this is continued, if this stays like this for the next 5 years, and every 6 months you will have to go and get a PET scan and done. But if this stays like this for 5 years, then I can authentically tell you that he will be free of cancer. That is what he said. So now, once we were free of this, he said, get a radiation also done. So we had a session of 45 radiations. So I used to take him daily for radiation, bring him back and everything. But he was physically there was a drastic improvement. I mean, the day we took him on to the hospital, when we had got him admitted, that time he was not able to walk on his feet. And the last day of the radiation was, he was himself walking, coming out of the radiation. And the best part was, immediately after his treatment, he went abroad.
Okay. So I remember you telling me that there was a wish list.
Yeah. So the wish list came up in the second time. Okay. The first time was that he had already planned that he has to go abroad. So he wants to see the world and everything, fine enough. So immediately he went abroad, and probably for almost a year and a half, or say 2 years, 2-3 years. So till 2013, there was nothing, there was no problem as such. He literally went to the US, he went to Europe, and I guess he went to Singapore also. So he traveled the world. And absolutely there was no thoughts about he being a cancer patient, or that he had just caught up from a big treatment as such. He was absolutely never used to mention it also. He was living like a free bird. And
closed chapter of the life. Yeah.
Absolutely. That was it's over and out for him. But what happened is, after 2013, when he had gone again, he had gone. My father was fond of going to places. He always had this larger than life type of he used to be. I used to always. I mean, he had that thought in his mind that he came from a very small town. I mean, our native place is somewhere on the border of Karnataka and Maharashtra, and he could not even he did not even have the money to even study as such. He came to Pune in '67 when probably he had just cleared his matrix. That time there was matric. अपना जो 10th का रहता है वो. And he had just cleared that. There was nothing else he could do. He did an ITI course, and then after doing ITI he got a job in Kirloskar, and he started his job in Kirloskar as someone who used to clean machines. So it is that kind of growth that he has done, and then he went on to do NCTVT, and in 1977 he joined SKF, and that is SKF at that time was the paymaster, and he's always been a what you can say, a person who's built everything on his own. I mean, we never had this something where my grandfather's ancestral property and everything, nothing of that. He came here in Pune with a trunk, जैसे बोलते ना चड्डी पहन के ट्रंक लेके आए थे, वैसे ही आए थे, और जो भी किया खुद से किया. He worked on his own, and then after the marriage, my mother is one of the strongest support. So in all this whole sequence of this treatment of something that I miss telling you is my mom's role. She was the strongest support of my father. I mean, I'll tell you, Ravi, she was completely into that zone in such a level that she was given a chart by there's a diet that needs to be maintained. Because generally they say if you are a cancer patient, you should not eat anything raw and all those stuff, I mean, that's pretty much everybody knows about. So right. There was a diet schedule that had been given to her. She was 24/7 into it. She was like, सुबह एक सूप करना है, 2 बजे ये करने का है, 2 बजे डब्बा लेके डब्बे में ये होना चाहिए, शाम को 4 बजे ये है, फ्रूट्स का ये टाइम है. It was like those 6 months her life was only getting things on plate from my father. There was
so he had the right type of nutrition.
Absolutely.
24 hours a day.
That is one of the very important factors in the treatment.
And that was, and that's food for the stomach, for the physical, but food for the soul. I mean, of course, just seeing that your family, auto ka bolte hai, the women, if they really, a woman makes or breaks your life, and if she stands by you,
and
nothing,
she was
you can't face.
Yeah, and she wasn't just cared about anything. I mean, she did not care about treatment or nothing. She never even asked about, okay, how's he doing? What does doctor say? No. She was like, my role is giving my husband the best possible food that has been told to give him. That's it. It's a simple thing she followed. And believe me, she herself is diabetic. I mean, she herself is having her own ailments as such. Huh? In spite of that, she was like, and the energy in her, I was surprised what is giving her strength. But this you must be knowing from your parents and relationship also. They have a different relationship, man. I mean, this is really difficult to understand what drives them in these tense situations. They will the way they stand up for each other. It was so assuring that it was beautiful. I mean, everybody had their role split up, and everybody was doing their role. My sister, my brothers, my family, my mom. And that is what was giving my father that energy to come out of that, and he came out of it. I mean, the first time was superb. I mean, I told you after that 2 years was, and my father had always decided, in spite of he coming from a small town, he had told my mother, "Me tula akkha jug phirona." That was the promise he had made her. Whatever, whenever.
Puri dunya ghumenge.
Puri dunya ghumayenge. And believe me, he did. He stuck to his promise. And then 2013, again, this was the second episode which started. That started when he was, he was shaving, And suddenly he realized there's a lump here. And he's like, Santosh, yeah, this is something different. Chalo ho gaya kya apna wapas? So it was that kind of a jovial person he was, and he was so confident. Again, the same thing happened. We went to the hospital. That this time, Dr. Kurlekar, Dinanath surgeon, cancer surgeon, Ant Kurlekar, he got this surgery done, and again, the same thing. He said that this is too malignant. So there was a huge lump here. I mean, you won't believe, at that point after the operation, there was almost an 1.5 inch cavity inside his chin out here. And I used to, once after the operation, once we got him home, to wait till the biopsy report again. I used to one who used to do the dressing also.
Gotcha.
So, yeah, so that was different. And by that time, something, and what had happened is, being in the hospital for such a long period, I had got used to all these medical terms, the medical practices. So for me, it was like, dressing is okay, मैं कर सकेगा. The doctor told me, the Anand Kurlekar say, this is how you do, this is the swab, this is the betadine, you have to put it inside, you have to clean it up. As long as you don't faint and fall down, because there will be blood, you can do it. I said, don't worry.
कई लोगों को जमता नहीं है. A lot of people can't see the sight of blood.
Because Ravi, during the first chemotherapy session, during the operation, at a stretch, I was in hospital for 50 days. And 50 days we were in Dinanath, and I used to be there. I went like it was a sort of a medical tourism for me. Bag leke udhar hi rehne ka, bas enjoy karne ka. So
Dinanath Mangeshkar.
Dinanath Mangeshkar.
Yeah.
It was the second home.
And I think this is what laid the foundation of you. Subconsciously you saw so much, and you went through so much, and you realize that there is no. The moment something like this comes, God forbid, kiske saath hota hai. So the family members, just the way everybody reacts to this is very different. And in fact, I remember one conversation we had, and you slowly, the way he was slipping away, and just the way you guys sort of rallied around, and you took it in a very positive sense that you've lived your life. Don't go in unhappy, with a unhappy frame of mind. So there was one incident which was about you getting your family. Would you like to share that?
Yeah. So what you're talking about is the last, the last relapse, of which he could not come out. So it's like cut to 2017 now. So what had happened is, 2017 we admitted him on the 2nd of October in Dinanath, and immediately Dr. Melankiri said, Santosh, it's bad this time. It's really bad. And probably there's nothing that we can do. So yet he said, let's try out some steroids or something. So till the 5th of October, he was absolutely fine. He was talking. We had a gala time till then. I mean, because this had become a routine now. So Dinanath was like a second home. So that was the first time when I said, Dad, you know what? It's like, we were on the first floor. We were on the second floor operated. Then during the third chemo, we were on the third floor for the radiation and all that. Then after the third, we went to the fourth. The fifth has also happened. We were on the sixth. Last time we came during the chin happened, that was on the 7th floor. So now we are on the 8th floor. Now I said, listen, I mean, this old building of Dinanath is only 8 floors. Now, if we have something more, either I'll have to talk to Lata Mangeshkar to tell her to build a 9th floor, or you'll have to go up. He said, no, you know what, Santosh, going up is better. Where are you going to talk to Lata Mangeshkar? She won't even entertain you. Who are you? So it's sounding very funny, but you know that at that point, even he had realized that this is bad. And you won't believe, the last day, I mean, he passed away on the 13th. On the 10th morning, 9th October morning, we both were only there in the hospital room. 8th floor, and he had a he vomited, and he vomited blood, and he vomited big clots of blood. That was the time I had to, I mean, I collected all those clots in my hand, and I saw fear for the first time in eyes of my father. For the first time in my life, I saw him afraid. And at that point, he realized that, yes, this is the start of my end. And you know what, Ravi? After that, for the next 3 hours, he didn't, he did not utter a single word. I wiped him clean, and because it was early in the morning, there was no one available. So initially, I had to do some all the get him clean and everything, and then at around 7 o'clock, the nurses and they came, the clean, and they cleaned him up, and it was fine. So after the breakfast, he just said, "Santosh, do one thing." I said, "What? Tell me." Remove all this. I mean, all this as in he had
Yeah.
intravenous,
Yeah.
intravenous
The drips
attached.
and
Yeah, the drips and everything, you know. So I said, he said, no, it's not going to work. And trust me, Ravi, at that point, I will understood, yes, you're right, father. You do not deserve to go in a way wherein people are going to wait for you to die. I could not let that happen. And I cannot see you in pain on the bed where you're waiting for your death. That is the last thing that will happen. He said, no, that's it. We are not going to do that. And I told the nurse that remove everything. She said, sir, we are not authorized to do. So I said, okay, what do you want me to do? She said, no, sir, you'll have to talk to Dr. Melancholy. If he tells us only, then we'll be able to do it. I said, fair enough. I called up Dr. Melancholy. He said, Santosh, you are absolutely right, and your father is absolutely right. This is the best way. Let him just go home. And we removed everything. And 11th, we got him home. Ravi, I had told everybody to get around, and you won't believe, 11th, I mean, I have friends in Dinanath, so they are arranged for the ambulance and everything. So it was very fast. So I had, fortunately, I did not have time to waste all, the regular process and all those stuff. Admission, I mean, the discharge and everything. Yeah, papers. Yeah. That was taken care of. The moment we reached home, there were at least 40 of my relatives actually waiting here. And till the time of death, I mean, till he passed away, and the best part was he was conceived because, he had lost his voice because there were tumors all in his throat, right? And his full body was, his stomach, his throat, chest, everything was full of tumors. So he could not say anything. And he used to just look at me, and he used to call his friends, and, in the sense that take care of him, and, so here I need to mention something also. Again, what is something that gives confidence to someone. So on the 13th morning, 8 o'clock, I received a call. So the call was from,
from a very senior person. Yeah.
Yeah. So someone who authoritatively told my father, don't worry about him. I am with him. Believe me, Ravi, that call pepped him up to such an extent that immediately in the evening he passed away. So you will say, how is it that he passed away? So
there are people.
Exactly,
he's worried. He's worried. Who'll take care of my family? Who'll take care of my son?
Correct.
And more than of course, एक चीज होती है यार, financial एक चीज होती है, physical एक चीज होती है, moral. But most importantly, just to be around, to just put the person, पीठ पे हाथ डोलो and say, यार मैं हूँ. Whether you take help or no, it's a different thing. But just be there, hold space with that person. Ke yaar, main hu.
Correct.
Don't worry about it.
And the best part was, Ravi, he passed away so peacefully. He was a family man. He was a man of the masses. He was a person who always was with people. we had around 100 people in my house at that time. My mom was right besides him. My sister was besides him. I was there. So we all were physically with him at the time he passed away. And believe me, the moment he passed away, there was a divine glow on his face, you know. And
But sorry, I remember you, you know, a very nice way that you encouraged everybody to, you know, to speak to him and tell them कि यार जो अब दिल में है अब बात कर लो. Don't wait. Don't keep anything inside.
yeah, I did
So,
that. In particular, I told my sister.
yeah.
I told my sister and I told my mother in particular. I told my mother that, you know, tell him that he's been such a lovely husband. Tell him what he has done for you. Just don't keep it inside. It was very difficult for her, but she managed it. And you know, it was an effect of all these things. My sister telling him that you have been the best a person can get as a father. My mother telling him that he is the best thing that has happened to her in her life. My son was there, my wife was there. So you know, the my cousin, I mean my nephew was there. So the whole family there, they are thanking this man who has lived his life on his own ways, and he went also on his own way, Ravi. So it is not possible to tell you precisely that okay, now just remove all these drips, it's my time. So that requires courage, boss. It requires courage, because there was a time when one of our one of our family doctors insisted that I give him external feeding, you know, because he said his organs are good, Santosh. Why are you doing this? I said, no, I'm not going to do that, because if my father has told me that he wants to pass away this way, he will pass away this way. And that requires courage, Ravi.
Yeah,
That
yeah.
requires courage.
Relatives होते हैं यार, वो guilt trip पे डालने के लिए बहुत होते हैं, and then throughout the life they are there to, you know, taunt you के. So I get where you're coming from. वो courage होना चाहिए. You have to have that thing कि this is between my father and me. This is the way, you know.
Correct, correct.
If your father wanted it that way, and I think that's absolutely courageous bolo, right decision bolo. But basically, you know, you don't really care much for the
Absolutely.
world or the
Yeah,
society.
yeah,
So
yeah. I mean,
that's a good attitude to
yeah,
have.
I mean, he had specifically told me this also before we going, whenever we used to have this lovely, beautiful chats in the hospital, that
Yeah.
listen, one thing, you're not going to cut your hair. ते असलं फालतूपणा मला नाही ते चालणार. ते कोण काय म्हणलं तर सांगायचं मला नाही. I mean, he said he was that
So
kind of a person.
the
The
rituals,
rituals. He
yeah.
was completely against the
So
rituals.
going bald after
Yeah, going
passing
forward,
away.
then we have this, you know, in our religion, doing the 13th day, the 14th
Yeah,
day, and
all
the
those religions.
immersion of
Yeah, yeah.
ashes, and you know, so many other
Rituals.
things. He never believed it. He said,
Mm.
your karma, I mean, what work you
Mm.
do is important.
Mm.
Everything else is immaterial. So that is a lesson that he always gave me, and I'm trying my best to walk on that path, you know, that just do whatever you're supposed to do. Don't even think about, are you getting the results? For what are you doing this? Is anybody even appreciating it or not appreciating it? It's like, you know, the Gita, Karmanya Vadhikarasya.
Mm.
So he believed it that way, and he lived his life also that way.
And,
Mahapalishu Tarapna. So
and he's been such a inspiration for you, and where you've decided again, like I said, you know, you made it a point to go back to Dinanath Mangeshkar. You work with, you counsel family members.
yeah, so this started, you know, this was the same time, you know. See, because you know what, this is what he also, I realized that when I was with him in hospital during all this period, I realized that it's not easy for someone to stay in a good state of mind with such a disease. Because I used to see panic everywhere around me. I mean, because it's a cancer ward. So
Right.
everybody is distressed, everybody is panicked. And fortunately, that point of time, I realized there is this one group. There was a leaflet that was stuck on a cabin
Notice
outside
board.
of on the notice board, and there was this name written there, Cancer Peer Support Group. So I just went, okay, let's go and read it. So because that was my routine, you know, I mean, being there for only 50 days. Every time I used to go, I used to 4-5 days,
आदमी
7
करेगा
days.
क्या? या आदमी
Nothing
करेगा
like that.
क्या?
So,
When there is
so
उनका
I
जो
was
routine
like,
चल रहा है.
I used to roam around Dinanath as it's my home, playground there. So I used to just keep going every places, finding out things, talking to people, doing many other things when I'm not needed. I mean, when he was resting, obviously.
Yeah.
So yeah, so this group was formed by a lady named Kalpana Gupte, and her name was there, and she had a number there, and this group was there. They said that the group worked for emotional counseling of patients and their relatives. So I said, okay, fair enough. So I gave a call to that woman. I called her up and I said, I'm Santosh, and uh, I would like to meet you. She said, okay, where do you come from and all those things. So I told her about my father's case, and he's admitted here. Oh, so he said, okay, then tomorrow I'm coming to Dinana. So let's meet up. I said, fair enough. So I met her, and then she said, you know what, Santosh, we are a group of breast cancer survivors who have started this group. And we are breast cancer survivors for the last 22 years. And believe me, Ravi, those ladies are amazing. So 8 of them, all probably in the age of 65, 70. But the energy is like captivating. And you can see it on the face. And they said, see, so what would you like to do? So I said, okay. I said, I can, from the perspective of a caregiver, I would like to give inputs. She said, perfect, that's your role. Because we don't have a caregiver in our group. We all are patients. So we are like, we tell patients about,
Survivors. They're all
yeah, we are all
survivors.
survivors. So we just tell people how to survive. But there is no one who can give the caregiver side.
Yeah.
So perfectly, you fill in that slot. So that is where, I decided to join that group, and I started working with them, talking to people. And believe me, Ravi, this is just talking to someone makes things so much easier. I mean, I will just tell you one incident, one of the
Yeah.
experiences which I've had there is this patient, there was this old couple. The husband was 75 years of age, and his wife is rather, both of them, they're still there. His wife is 69 of 70 of the age. And she was detected with cancer. And this old elderly couple, their sons are abroad. So all the hospitalization and everything is done by the grandfather. I mean, this by this uncle who's 75 years of age. And after this, deciding my schedule that I will be there in Dinanath on a Wednesday. So between so and so timing, I used to go and sit there, just in the counseling sort of room. We have a room there. I used to go there and just wait, because see, so cancer is something that unless and until people want you to talk to them, it's not very easy that, okay, I've come to counsel you. Should I counsel you?
Yeah,
It's not that.
you
It
have to
doesn't
be
work.
there. You just
Yeah.
have to be present.
We just
It's
have to be there for
just
anyone who
like,
comes.
yeah, just like you were roaming around, just like you needed something
Absolutely.
at some point of
Correct.
time. You
Correct.
just have to be there, and the regularity has to be there.
Correct.
So
Correct.
that's
Correct.
what you were doing at that time.
Yeah. So I was sitting there. I mean, I was reading a book or something, and this uncle, elderly person, he comes in, frail looking, 75 years of age. He said, "Okay, so what is this support group all about?" He asked me. I said, and I mean, this is what we do. And my father has gone through this, and oh, he said, "Okay." He just sat down,
Hmm.
and he after sitting down, he wasn't saying anything. So I just asked him, "Hmm, Uncle, is it something that you would like to tell me? Or is it something that you want to say?" He said, "No, but you know what, Santosh, I am a very big fan of KL Saigal." I said, "All right, fantastic." So, I mean, I asked him, I mean, you just listen to his song? Or, no, I even recite his songs and all. So I said, "Uncle, can you do me a favor?" So he said, "What? Can you sing a song for me here?" So he said, "Are you sure that you want me to sing?" I said, "Absolutely sure. Just sing it out." You won't believe, Ravi. And he started singing that song, KL Sehgal. And after that song, I just took his hand in my hand. I just held it for period of time, he was just completely into tears.
Expression वही होता है ना.
Exactly. And
everyone has their own different way of
there was
expressing.
no conversation at all between
You
us.
don't need, yeah. क्या करेगा? I mean, he's
See,
got you in
because
front
we
of
are
him.
not, yeah, I'm not here to give him any medical advice.
Yeah.
I'm not here to tell him that your wife is going to be fine. Nothing. I was just there to be as a sponge. I believe
Yeah.
a roller. You have to be in a role of a sponge. You have to just absorb things. It is something that you need to absorb. And after that, he went to his wife, and that wife, and they called up Kalpana Gupte, and they told her, this guy is awesome, Santosh, because what he has done for my husband yesterday has given him such a lot of peace. She said, like, I mean, Gupte madam was like, Santosh, what did you talk to him? I said, ma'am, I did not talk to him at all. I just asked him to sing what he wants to sing. So these are the experiences. I mean, this is a major part of counseling. It's a time that people just want to hear you out. I mean, they want them, to just be heard.
In any which way.
Absolutely.
Any which way. Just a simple thing, you just want to sit with somebody who understands. एक तो यार ये कोई जिंदगी में कोई गाइड बुक तो है नहीं.
बिल्कुल.
If you, God forbid, you're in a situation like this, how the hell are you going to cope with it? So if you just have somebody who knows and who understands the pain that you're in,
correct,
and that itself makes it a big deal. और वो आपको सिर्फ थोड़ा एक वहां से एक उम्मीद दिखती है, and there is just some sort of a feeling of understanding that yes, I know what you're going through. And you're right, you're not promising him anything else. No, you can't. Nobody can. We're not
absolutely. God. There's nothing that we can tell him about the treatment or anything. There's nothing. We have to just be there at that point of time with him. That's it. So these magical experiences, these are life-changing experiences, Ravi. So it's been practicing compassion is the most important that I've understood in life.
So this whole journey has taught you so many things. It's given you a whole different set of experiences, perspectives. You've grown not only, as a person, but, there's a spiritual side, which is a very evident, to people. When you talk of energy, you talk of the, exchange of just pure energy and thoughts, or, you don't want to talk. People are just, and I know that, interacting with you earlier on, you're able to catch on to, these, like you said, the energy is very fast. I remember we had gone to a doctor's place and somebody was cutting the line, and the person whose number was being taken was looked very short, but he was a Pehlan. And fat karke in Marathi, you got talking to him. So before there was an explosive situation, because everybody is in line, सब थके मारे यार मेरा नंबर कब आएगा, ये बेचारा अकेला था वहाँ पे, it was his, I don't think it was for him, I think it was for someone else that he was showing. That's what I gathered from the conversation. But I think, you understood the situation, you started having a conversation with him, you calmed him down, and it's just a question of, like you said, compassion. Yeah, 2 minutes, we are all going through our own journeys, sabka kuch na kuch hai hi hai. So, just change focus, just change, for a minute, the thinking, the perspective. And I think that's what I think your father is, one of the legacies that he's left you with is as a human being.
Yeah.
This and there's I know that there's so much of work that you do, social work that you do outside.
Yeah, and I'll tell you one more thing, and this is also, how you derive energy from whatever's gone by. I mean, for me, my father is still a source of energy. For me, he's just around. He's abundant now. He's eternal. So what's the concept of God? For me, I have seen and lived with my God. So I never ever feel that he isn't there. So it's just a matter that whatever I have to think, yes, he's there. So that positivity, that kind of energy, it's something that I cannot just express in words. That is what drives me daily in and out. And that belief that yes, my dad is there, is he is watching me over, and that gives me tremendous positivity. Lovely. And that I cherish for my whole life. I will cherish.
And I really hope, and I know for a fact that you will spread a lot of joy, a lot of cheer. You will spread a lot of positive hope. You, it is your intention to, just be there for a whole lot of people,
Yeah,
and you genuinely feel that,
yeah.
and you told me multiple times that this is what you feel your life purpose is really.
Correct, correct.
So
Yeah.
more power in to that intent, and I hope that you are able to keep and maintain that for times to come. And I wish you all the best.
Thanks,
Uh,
thanks, Ravi.
Thank you for opening up and sharing your journey on DilSe.
It
Um,
was same here, and it was a pleasure talking to you. I
yeah,
mean, this I've never talked about it openly, so this was something that is very close to my heart. And
I'm
thanks
sure.
a lot for helping me out get all these thoughts also, on air. It's really great to talk to you.
Yeah,
Thanks
and
a
I'm
lot.
sure people will relate to this, because even though it may not be cancer, or any particular serious thing like this, but the small things that come along the way, especially the times that we are living in, so much of fear. I think we need to change our focus, change from fear, change to something else.
Correct.
And I think that's the only way we can see through these times that we live in. So, well, let's hope that these things pass off quick. And thank you, friends. We'll catch up again with another guest soon. So
Thanks.
here's me signing off. Thank you.